Hey, super friends, this is Elena, and I'm here to say, no, I'm only joking. I'm not going to bust out a rap song like your Tío Pepe from Sunland Park. But what I am going to do is tell you about another way to support us and the show. Every week, we broadcast a new episode. 52 is the amount of episodes that we released last year. The number of bonus episodes that we released was 1. Many more could have been recorded. For only $2 a month, that's just 6 cents a day, you can receive our episodes a week early and ad-free. Join online and Tío Pepe will personally send you a welcome kit with your free stickers. Your donation says, we are here to help you. Please log on right now at patreon.com/technicallyaconversation.
In 2002, a well-respected woman in southern India died. 6 years later, her husband died in a similar manner. The family suffered 2 more deaths later in a shorter and shorter time span. There were also 2 more deaths in a connected family. Was this some kind of genetic silent killer, or was this a serial killer in southern India? Because they all did die after eating. All 6 of the bodies were exhumed as part of the investigation. What was found? All the details next on Technically a Conversation. Greetings, super friends. Welcome to another episode of Technically a Conversation. Here, we like to share an interesting topic or story with each other, which we've recently learned and hope you find it interesting too. I'm one half of your host today, Isela. Joining me as always is Jose. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. Hating the wind, but otherwise, it's gorgeous, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really consider the wind gorgeous. But I already heard it making a couple of cameos, though, so we might hear it a few times in the recording.
This is true, yeah. Hopefully not. But no, I was just really referring to like the warmth. It's an acceptable level of warm when it's not windy anyway.
Yeah, we're in the lower 70s, upper 60s, so that's always nice.
Yeah, this is that sweet spot. This is that like San Diego weather.
Yeah.
Lucky people in San Diego, whoever's listening out there. So one of the places that's like on my bucket list, and I'm curious if it's on your bucket list, is the Taj Mahal.
It's not on my bucket list, but I would definitely want to go check it out if I had the opportunity to.
Yeah, like if money was no object or something, you'd be like, yeah, why not?
For sure.
Yeah. So shout out to India because that's our second largest country in our audience. Thank you so much. Woohoo for listening.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah. As a thank you, I wanted to share a story that I saw last year. It was on a documentary on Netflix. It's just absolutely mental, and that's what we're going to chat about today.
Being mental?
Yes. You'll see the through line, actually.
Okay.
What's actually even funnier is I had already had this planned, and we just did an episode also on something else that was Indian. So I was like, oh my God, our minds are totally melding. Like it's happening, guys.
Yeah, there was a moment where Elena and I both did an episode that was booze related. And then you and I did an episode that was music related.
Yes. See, we're all just becoming one large giant brain. I'm just kidding. Today, we're going to chat about a family who was mysteriously dying one by one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with some kind of silent killer. The first people to die, they did have heart conditions, but then the victims started to get younger and younger. Someone was, in fact, arrested, but a lot of doubt was still hanging over this case. So we'll go through all the facts that we know of. In fact, the trial began exactly a year ago, March 2023. So this is perfect. This is recent history, true crime, all that good jazz. Could it really have been somebody in the family just mercilessly killing over 14 years? Imagine the Home Alone face right now. Oh, right. Scary. So, Jose, pop open a Kingfisher beer and relax with a bowl of biryani because I'm taking you to India today for this wild story.
I do that every single night. Pop open that Kingfisher beer and the biryani or whatever.
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah, you do it every night. It's so funny. All right. So specifically, this took place in Kerala, India, which is the western part of the southern tip of India. All of this comes from, like I said, a Netflix documentary to which we'll provide at least the trailer in the show notes. Thought you were going to do that.
Show notes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not on my A game today.
Damn it. Come on. Just kidding. Okay. So first, let's cover who is the person that's at least being accused. Her name is Jolly Joseph Katapana. I'll just call her Jolly Joseph or Jolly. She was known around the town for being very family-oriented. She was involved in church, really well-liked, very respected in the community ultimately. But there were many people who also said she had a dark side. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, guys, just so you know, that's like Mexican suspense for our super friends that don't speak Spanish.
I can actually play it.
Oh. I was making the Home Alone face right there.
I think that was from like Ren and Stimpy or something.
Dude, I love Ren and Stimpy. I love it. Jolly grew up in a home of farmers, and she didn't want to stay in a house where people were expected to do a lot of labor for a living.
That makes two of us.
I know, thank you. I was like, surprise, nobody does. Pretty sure that's why all lottery winners quit their jobs, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the way she dressed, they said she was very different, very eclectic. It was more Western, nothing typical like the Indian women, like the saris and stuff like that. Jolly would often romanticize the idea of being wealthy. Again, that's probably 99% of people.
I see nothing unusual.
Yeah, right. Now let's cover the family who had the first victims. The family consisted of a set of parents and 4 kids. I know it's going to be a lot, so I'm going to try to continue to constantly, as I bring in names, I'll try to remind you who they are. The parents, the dad was Tom Thomas. That's his real name, which is crazy. And the wife, Tom's wife was Anna Thomas. The mom of the family, she was a longtime teacher, so she knew everyone around town because at one point in time they were kids and she taught them. She was really well respected, real beloved member of the community. The dad, Tom Thomas, was also very well respected in the community because he also worked in education. The documentary I watched, I couldn't really see what his role was, but nonetheless, they did say he was somewhere in the education department. Their kids, from oldest to youngest, was M.S. Matthew. That was the oldest son. Next oldest son is Roy. Next oldest son is Rojo. And then they had a daughter, Kenji. The middle son, Rojo, he had intercepted a Christmas card that was supposed to be for Roy, the second oldest. And it was from Jolly Joseph. This is where these two worlds are colliding. And Jolly had written like all this, like with love and all this stuff. And they wrote letters back and forth to each other. And they eventually fell in love. Roy's dad, which is Tom Thomas, he was not in favor of this marriage, mostly because Jolly was viewed as being part of the extended family, even though it was actually by marriage. So not by blood, but by marriage type of thing.
Okay.
Jolly commonly said that she was a qualified professional. This is most likely why Roy's mom favored her a little bit more because she had a master's in commerce, saying she'll definitely get a good job. So the wedding took place in 1997. It rained on their wedding day, which, as we all know, is ironic. Thank you, Alanis Morissette. Just kidding. It's common for multiple generations to live in one roof in India and China, as well as in Mexico. So Jolly moved in with her hubby and her in-laws because Roy still lived with his parents. Roy went to work, leaving Jolly to just go shopping, I guess.
Nice. Her wish came true.
Exactly. I was like, dude, she got her dream. It was funny because the doc said she particularly liked to go shopping for jewelry. Don't we all, Jolly? It's part of our XX chromosomes. The mother-in-law, started to remind Jolly it was time to get a job to share in the financial burdens. In 1999, though, Jolly got pregnant and the mom kind of backed off on pushing her to get a job. Then she had her first son, Remo. Shortly thereafter, the mother-in-law offered to take care of Remo while Jolly went to work. So now she's like, okay, let's go back to pressuring her to get a job. At least meanwhile, Jolly did learn how to cook and clean and help a bit with, the house chores. But she was basically refusing to go to work. Jolly told everyone she had that MCOM, the Master's in Commerce. However, she admitted to the lead police investigator, creating that degree was the worst mistake I committed because it was a lie, possibly? Man.
Yeah. She set up the expectation already.
Yes, exactly. And they were all like, well, dude, get a job, right? If you have this, I'm assuming like this really fancy degree, why aren't you putting it to work, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, I would be that same mom-in-law too, I think. Yeah. The father-in-law, Tom Thomas, spoke to Jolly's dad asking, hey, if she has such a high degree, why isn't she being more active and looking for a job? And that was when the dad answered honestly and said, she has no such degree. Sus.
Her own dad sold her out.
Yes. The marriage was built on lies. But of course, the father-in-law told his wife, Ana Ama, so it was only a matter of time before the secret got out. She should have asked to see that degree, to be perfectly honest. You got to ask for receipts, people. That's what I'm saying.
In any marriage, you should ask to see your spouse's degree. That should be a prerequisite.
Dude, if someone would have asked her, they would have just realized she's a liar and none of the stuff that could be unfolding later would have happened.
No, I was kidding. Usually,
I know you're being a jerk.
Yeah, usually you don't think about those things when you're in love.
No, of course not. You're just like, oh yeah, okay. I take it for granted. I have seen your degree because yours is on a wall.
Yeah, because most people don't believe me, so I need to show it off so that they can see it.
That's so sad. You're so funny.
You're like, oh wow, you're not as dumb as you look.
Okay, so skip to 2002. Everyone was getting ready for breakfast. Kenji, which is the daughter of Tom Thomas, she was making chicken. The mother-in-law, Ana Ama, she grabbed herself a glass of water and left the kitchen. Kenji had sensed that something was wrong with her mom, so she went to go check on her. She saw her mom crying when she went into the bedroom, and the mom told Kenji she was going to die. Call everyone up to the room is what she was saying. Okay, it gets a little grody here, people, so a little warning. When everyone got to the room, they all saw her gripped with fear. Blood was coming up and out of her mouth. She said she couldn't breathe because obviously all the blood was everywhere. They did call a doctor, but shortly after the doctor arrived, Ana Ama died. R.I.P. victim number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to get better. Well, not better, but worse and better. I don't know. Sorry.
I'm waiting for the grody part.
Oh, what? That was it? Ew.
Oh, okay.
All the blood coming up, all gurgling and blah, gross. You're like, that was music to my ears. You weirdo. I'm just kidding.
No. Well, I thought you were going to say there was blood coming out of all of her orifices and her eyes and something crazy like that.
Oh, Ebola.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
She turned around and was like, 7 days.
Yeah. Isn't there a frog that squirts like blood through like one of their eyeballs?
Yeah, I think so. There's some type of animal that does that, and it's supposed to be very poisonous.
That'd be so gross. But a cool superpower.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so everyone thought she died of just some kind of hereditary nature, like a stroke or something like that, because she did have some type of heart condition.
That's what I thought also. Nothing suspicious about the story so far.
Right. At this point, this is victim number 1. We haven't seen any dots to connect, but those will be revealed.
Dun, dun, dun.
She did have illnesses. So again, like I said, the family did not ask for a post-mortem, which sounds like it's a little bit different to the way it is here in the United States, where pretty much every death has a death certificate from the state and it states what the cause of death is. In India, it sounds like unless you ask for a post-mortem, you're not going to get it. They're just like, okay, that person died.
So they don't do an autopsy when it's a strange death or something unless it's asked for?
Correct. That's absolutely right. Also, though, I kind of get it. It's the second most populated country. So I would imagine there's a lot of deaths too. I don't know. Maybe they can't keep up with that. I don't know. Anyway, Jolly changed completely after the mother-in-law's death. Suddenly, she's doing all the housework. She's really taking on that matriarch role of the house. The mother-in-law did leave jewelry for the daughter, Kenji, but Jolly told Kenji, the daughter, or her sister-in-law, basically, saying that she was only getting what Ana Ama wrote in the diary and nothing else from the property, which is kind of fucked up if you think about it. You're like, bitch, this was my mom. Of course I get. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Jolly was only trying to do what was right. She was trying to exercise the instructions that she left behind to the letter. You can't fault her for doing that, for following procedure.
If it's in the diary, I get it, but I would imagine that she would have had a will or something. But who knows? I don't think they specifically talked about her will, but wills come in later.
I think Jolly understood the assignment and she was following the assignment, so.
Oh, she understood the assignment. Yeah. So anytime Kenji wanted to talk to her own dad, Tom Thomas, Jolly was running interference. Jolly told Kenji, the sister-in-law, very plainly that Jolly had no plans on getting a job because someone had to take care of her father-in-law, which is like...
Which is true.
I mean, obviously he can take care of himself.
Oh.
What the hell? Yeah, it's true. That's funny.
I'm Team Jolly all the way, so.
I'm definitely hearing that loud and clear. Jolly didn't understand why the community wasn't giving her any respect that Ana Ama was getting. Because she was like, I'm now the matriarch. All the respect should kind of just default go to me.
She inherited the respect, honestly.
Is what she was thinking, right? But of course you earn it, right? So what she ended up doing was being a guest lecturer at NIT, which stands for National Institute of Technology. This position came with the understanding that the job would become permanent. So there was hope for her to have like a permanent guest lecturing job. And it came with a lot of respect, of course. One thing I did find somewhat comical in the documentary, Jolly's eldest son said, people found her really pleasant and humble, even though she was teaching at NIT, which to me sounds like everyone there are like total jerks or something, right?
Yeah.
The family even gave her a ton of respect too. So that's nice that things started at least changing for Jolly.
Yeah, and I think she deserves that respect because she should have been taking care of her father-in-law, but despite that, she still went to work.
Well, okay, yes. Let's see how you feel later.
Okay.
Let's see where this starts shifting. Kenji got married and had her dad, Tom Thomas, visit in 2008 for a whole month. And this is when she noticed that her dad was starting to look a little thin. And she naturally did worry that her dad might have been depressed, which makes sense, right? His wife had just passed away. So, she was concerned.
And Jolly was working now, so she wasn't there to feed him and take care of him properly.
Maybe that's why he's going a little thin. Maybe.
That's what I think.
I doubt it. Eves Matthew, which is the eldest son of Tom Thomas, he was the only one of the family that didn't live in that ancestral home. But he would come around very, very often to visit his dad and, of course, his mom and stuff like that. He was a jewelry salesman, just so you know. In 2008, on a particular evening, Tom was having his evening coffee, and then he followed it up with, they would take these like supplements. It was a mushroom capsule. Jolly gave him the capsule, but then he instantly felt crappy. He fell by the sink. He was rushed to the hospital, died on the way. R.I.P. victim number 2.
Poor guy. Were these psilocybin capsules or?
Something like that, yeah. He's like, I can taste the number 6. No. In the doc, you can kind of see where at this point, Kenji, the daughter, is pissed now. And she was asking, why did it take so long for my dad to get to the hospital? And Jolly said she couldn't find the car keys. What?
Women, am I right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Can't live with them. Can't kill them. Right. Just kidding. It's awful. His death was believed to be the result of a heart attack. He was buried next to his wife. So just so you know, it was 6 years from the first death to the next death. So from the mother-in-law to the father-in-law, 6-year time span. The neighbor of Jolly and that whole big ancestral home said that Jolly told her 3 deaths are going to occur here.
Oh my God.
I know. Hey, that's super ballsy.
She's a prophet.
I know.
She's clairvoyant, maybe.
She was like Nostradamus, yeah. After that, the neighbor was like, I had to stop talking to her. Yeah, I would too. What would you do if your neighbor told you that?
Well, first of all, I'm very skeptical, so I probably wouldn't have believed that.
Right.
But having seen like the mom and dad die, I think that I would get a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, I think I would absolutely stop talking to them too.
So far, I think that it was Anji or whatever, the girl, the daughter that got married.
Kenji?
Yeah, I think it was Henji.
She wanted to kill her parents.
I think so. Because she didn't get the jewelry that she wanted when the mother died. So I think she at least killed the dad.
Like, I wanted that.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Okay.
I don't suspect anybody else.
Yeah. Everything's all checks out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jolly and Roy had another son at this point. And Remo, the oldest son, was recalling this, how he said the distance that had started to grow between him and his mom, as well as his parents. They started to kind of separate and, not really be as lovey-dovey. Roy lost his job. And as expected, the couple began to have even more marital problems, leading up to talks of divorce, which actually sounds like it's probably one of the more common reasons for divorce. In 2011, Jolly fed her boys early and she put them to bed. She made a separate dinner for her hubby, Roy. After he ate, it didn't seem to be sitting well. And he ran straight for the bathroom. No Taco Bell jokes because I love their Mexican pizza. Also, how are we going to get them to be a sponsor?
We're obviously huge Taco Bell shills, so
Yes.
that's the logical sponsor for our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't until the next day that Jolly asked her neighbor to open the door to the bathroom, claiming that Roy locked himself in there. So when the neighbor did manage to open the door, they found Roy dead, foaming at the mouth. Ew.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. The son, Remo, said that when he was told about his dad's death, it was explained like, oh, he slipped, he hit his head, and he died. That was the reason why he had died.
I think that's how most people die in the bathroom, so that still checks out.
Yeah. R.I.P. Victim number 3. Ooh, hey, that rhymed.
And her prophecy came true. Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think there's a reason why she knew.
Oh.
Anyway, this is where the first autopsy finally gets done. It was stated he died of cyanide poisoning. Yes.
Like the Tylenol murders of 1982.
Was it like the killer curry or something? Was it the curry?
Maybe he ate an apple and consumed the seeds or something.
A lot of seeds. You have to eat a lot of those seeds.
Yeah.
Imagine, yeah. In the doc, it showed that an expert did state cyanide can mimic a heart attack if ingested in large amounts, which, remember, we thought the mom died of a heart attack. Just saying. But it's almost impossible to get the cyanide. So how could one actually get their hands on it? A licensed goldsmith could buy it for polishing the jewelry. And remember, there's a jewelry salesman in the family. Could it have been him? Or at least with his cooperation, the eldest son, M.S. Matthew? What do you think so far?
I don't know. Well, yeah, actually, I think it might be M.S. Matthew now that you say that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Jolly at all, though, so...
I love how this thing could be slapping you in the face. An octopus could be slapping you in the face, and you're like, "What is that? What is that right there? Is that a feather?" That's funny.
No, I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
Absolutely.
It definitely sounds like it was Jolly since the first death, I believe.
For sure. Yeah. Remo, the oldest son, was stating that this was really hard and dark times. First, his grandma dies, and then his grandpa dies, and now his own dad. And the property was now all transferred over to Jolly. The wills did look legit. It was stamped by all the proper people. I don't know if they have notary public people or whatever, but they looked really legit.
The same font as Jolly's diploma.
Yes, exactly. They're like, that's weird. Why is it in Comic Sans?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
The same words were misspelled on the diploma as on the will.
That's so sad. There's a sign of some smarts. But it was really hard for Kenji, the daughter, to think they are not getting the ancestral home. So she was talking to her brother, Rojo, or Rojo. I don't know. I don't know. That's actually red for Spanish. Spanish for red. Anyway, but they were like, I can't believe we're not keeping this house. And she was demanding to see the paperwork. When they looked at the paperwork, of course, they noticed that it was a fake will. Everything was supposed to go to Roy, and it was changed to Jolly. So that should already tell us and give us a clue to who it might be. But I don't know. What would you have done in this case? Do you think you would have confronted her, just gone to the police?
I don't know. I think that probably would have been the first logical thing, is to go to the police and show them all the evidence that I have, showing that she might have manipulated the will, the coincidence that those three members of the family all died very similar deaths. But I don't know. I'm very distrustful of the police also. So
yeah, well, who knows? Maybe the ones in India are better. I would like to think that it gets better from ours.
Well, after seeing RRR, it looks like their police is a lot more trustworthy than ours.
Oh my God, that's such a great movie. Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I will preface this by saying that this might not be 100% right, but I also know I'm being 100% honest. So take it as you will. But I definitely would have been like, fuck you and fuck off and get out of my dad's house. You know what I mean? Okay, bye. That type of thing. So let's see what the family did after this commercial break.
Hello, my name is Hallie, and I'm the host of the Morbid Curiosity Podcast, a podcast for the creepy community, covering history's most notorious serial killers, urban legends, ancient remains, historical tragedies, and obscure medical conditions. Join the creepy community anywhere podcasts are found, and let us satisfy your curiosity.
Whether you like history or not, if you care about bravery, wisdom, passion, larger-than-life characters, and some of the most emotionally intense moments in human experience, you've come to the right place. My name is Daniele Bolelli. I'm a university history professor, writer, and martial artist, and it would be my honor to be your guide in a journey to the place where history and epic collide. Despite my insanely thick Italian accent, somehow History on Fire is one of the most popular history podcasts in the world. If you give it a listen, you will find out why. So please check out History on Fire wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, I'm Darian. I could lead Climate Giant.
And I'm DJ. To be fair, a lot of dragons I know come from Norse mythology.
And we're two story-loving siblings who co-host the podcast Muses of Mythology. Where'd Aphrodite come from?
Well, she rose from the ocean from sea foam.
Yep.
From parts of Uranos.
Say it again?
Uranos.
Interesting.
We journey through Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, exploring how ancient myths become modern pop culture.
If you like Percy Jackson, classical mythology, or hyper-analyzing comic book movies, you'll love our show.
Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
And we're back.
We're back.
Did you kick anybody out of your ancestral home?
I kicked everybody out.
Yeah.
And I told them, take your arsenic with you.
Your cyanide and your arsenic.
Oh, your cyanide, sorry.
And your psilocybin. Yeah, I think you said all of those things so far. You're like, just all of it. Just all of it.
Well, they can leave the psilocybin. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that. Never mind.
Oh, that's true. That's a joke. Just jokes, people. So Kenji and Rojo did have the ownership canceled, but they forgave her for the sake of the children. Very nice, very sweet. After all, it had only been 1 year since their brother had died. And if she went to jail, they were thinking, what's going to happen to their nephews? But I mean, okay, I want to say valid point for absolutely sure. Like, for sure, I get it. But like, karma's got a karma. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I would have been thinking a lot different. I would have thought, I don't want my nephews living with the murderer. So I would want to report Jolly and take custody of the kids just to make sure that nothing happens to them.
Right. Or there's no like malicious intent somewhere else that's underneath this crazy weird ass facade, right? I agree.
Yeah, Jolly isn't as jolly as her name would suggest. She gets a little murdery every once in a while, so
Exactly.
every 6 years she gets murdery.
Yeah, exactly. That's what her name should have been, Murdery.
Yeah.
It would be hard to get married to someone like that. Anyway, so Kenji's uncle on the dad's side, he was the one who started to voice his suspicions to Kenji and Rojo, saying that he thinks they need to request a post-mortem. And that's why actually Roy did get that first post-mortem. And that's how we found out about the cyanide poisoning. The uncle would visit often, and he knew there was an affair going on with Jolly and the husband's oldest brother, MS Matthew. Can you believe that? Escándalo.
This calls for another.
That's funny. Yeah, for sure. We're bringing escándalo back. Remember, people? That was a great word that we learned from the episode, The History of Drag. Great one. Do check it out, y'all. Okay, back to the escándalo. The uncle told Jolly she needed to cut off the affair. I'm assuming she didn't like that one bit. Let's fast forward to 2014. Early in the evening, Kenji, the daughter, gets a phone call informing that uncle has passed away too. Dudes, I mean, come on. Are we connecting the dots yet? For the love of chicken biryani. Come on, people. She said she was shocked. She had just talked to him on the phone. He sounded fine a couple of hours ago. Like, what the heck is happening? He also died in a similar manner to the other three. But sadly, no post-mortem was requested. So no proof. RIP victim number 4. The time period in between the murders is becoming shorter and shorter. So from the first 2, like we said, is 6 years. And to the last 2, it's 2 years. Do you think maybe she's becoming more emboldened? She's maybe perfecting her craft, or her craft of killing, sadly. Or maybe she's just starting to feel like invincible or something. What do you think?
She's becoming a lot more confident, which you go, girl.
No.
Oh, no.
Cállate.
Well, March is Women's History Month, so.
This is like the bad history. Yeah.
You take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Isn't that a theme song? You take the good, you take the bad, and something, then you got the facts of life.
Yeah, the facts of life.
Anyway. The head investigator for this case took on the investigation in 2019. He had first gotten involved because someone had brought him the file for the eldest son's death back in 2011. His sister, Kenji, was throwing that yellow flag, like signaling something is definitely wrong in her brother's death because he was younger. Like maybe her parents are a little bit older, but like she was like, my brother was younger. Like there was nothing wrong with him. What the hell? His report said that he died of cyanide, remember? But again, how did he get it? At first, they were thinking, oh, it was a suicide. And would it have been a suicide or was it a murder? Like these were all the things that they were considering.
It could have been maybe a cyanide pills. I usually keep cyanide pills by my bed just in case the FBI finally catch up to me or something.
It's a good thing you're on record for this. Silly.
Eventually, they'll catch up to me.
Right.
No, I'm totally kidding.
These are clearly jokes, people.
Yes.
Yes. But anyway, either way, he wanted to know, was it a suicide? Was it a homicide? This is really what piqued his interest. So he ended up picking up the case. Now let's talk about the next victims. There was a man, very wealthy man, I should say, around town. His name is Shaju. He had his own family. His wife didn't work, which is what Jolly coveted. Jolly would often say how lucky his wife was because she didn't have to go to work. Shaju and his wife had 2 kids, Abel and a young 2-year-old daughter, Alphine. And Shaju's wife is Silly, S-I-L-I, I think, or C, I don't, but I think it's Silly, which sounds silly, but hopefully not. Sorry. Anyway, May 1st, 2014, it was Abel's first Holy Communion, and their family had a really big celebration at their house. Little Alphine, the 2-year-old, was being fed by an aunt, but little Alphine immediately fell. Her eyes were rolling in the back of her head, and sadly, the 2-year-old died. R.I.P. victim number 5. Jolly has claimed innocence on this one. She even asked her lawyer, what benefit would I have killing a little girl?
And she was making her first communion at 2 years old?
Her older brother, Abel, was making his first Holy Communion.
Oh, okay.
As one would expect, the mom, Silly, was depressed, and Jolly befriended Silly, and Jolly suggested about the mushroom capsules that Tom would take, saying they would make him feel better. Maybe I can give you some of his capsules because I still have his capsules.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Time to play that easy game of guess who's dying next, Jose. What do you say?
Yeah, I think I don't have to be a clairvoyant to predict who's dying next.
Yes, exactly. Shaju, the hubby of Silly, and Jolly were all in the waiting room in this dental clinic, and that's when Silly died. R.I.P. victim number 6.
Damn.
Doctors insisted. Oh, wait, is it number 6? Yeah, it is, right? I think I've been counting them down. Is that right? No, that was victim number 5.
There were the 4 people that were part of her family. So it's the mom, the dad, the brother, and then the guy that she was having an affair with.
Yeah, the daughter was, the 2-year-old was victim number 5, and now Silly is number 6. Yeah, dude, crazy. See, I can't even keep these numbers together. So there's so many people dying. Anyway, doctors insisted on a post-mortem, but Shaju, the husband, vehemently denied it, adding, our families don't do that. Does this make you think that maybe he was in on this?
I don't know if I would be if I would think automatically that he was in on it, but that would definitely make me a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, I would still want to know. I mean, like my wife was in good health. She just had a 2-year-old baby. She can't be that old, you know? I don't know. It makes me very suspicious for sure.
Maybe Shaju and Jolly were fucking also.
Right. Well, front and center in the funeral and all these rituals that were going on for...
They were fucking in the funeral?
Oh. No, they were.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying that in the middle of all the hustle bustle of the funeral and, getting things together and moving things here and there, Jolly was managing everything. Kenji was completely disturbed by seeing this, Kenji being the daughter of all these people that had passed away. Perhaps it reminded her of when her mom passed. Remember that she was like kind of taking over that like matriarch role or whatever. And she said that when she saw Jolly doing this, it looked like Jolly had some internal happiness. The hell? At the 1-year anniversary of Shaju's wife's death, Silly's death, Shaju proposed to Jolly and they got married in 2017. Going to the chapel and we're gonna wed a serial killer. That's crazy.
Love always finds a way.
Somehow.
Yep.
Despite the deaths. Kenji said knowing that they got married made her ill. However, she trusted that the truth would somehow would reveal itself. Here is that wonderful moment when the truth revealed itself. Kenji was looking at her brother Roy's autopsy, and when she saw that he died at 11:20 p.m. and his food was still not fully digested, therefore the poison was ingested with the food. When Kenji had asked what her brother had eaten, Jolly answered, it was his favorite dish for lunch. She lied about the time. She said he ate around 2 p.m., But obviously that's a lie because if it really was at 2 p.m., the food would have been digested. New Spanish word, guys. Mentiras, right? Mentiras, Jolly. Kenji caught the lie. She knew that Jolly was the criminal mastermind behind all of this, and she told the lead investigator. So what does he do? He went to NIT to get coworker opinions of her character. Like, let's find out, like, who this bitch, right? And they uncovered more mentiras. She never worked there.
What?
I know. Then, of course, remember her degree, her MCOM degree, also fake. The lies on lies on lies. She only had a pre-degree, which I guess it sounds like an associate's degree here, like a 2-year degree, or maybe that's just like the basics. I honestly don't know what that equates to, but however, we have a lot of lovely Indian listeners. If you guys could let us know what a pre-degree is, then, please write in. We'd love to know.
Or maybe a high school degree?
A pre-degree being a high school, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, that was all she had. Remo, the oldest son of Jolly, called Kenji, and he was like, Auntie, I don't know what's going on. They talked all about what was happening. The police exhumed the bodies of all the 6 victims. It was the first time in police history in the state of Kerala to exhume that many bodies all at once. Keep in mind, these bodies have been decomposing for over a decade. The result was highly unlikely to come up with any solid evidence. The cyanide was found in the bodies of her hubby, victim number 3, and in Silly, the wife. The other 4 bodies did not have cyanide. Interesting. Kenji emotionally said that she had a mission to speak for the dead members of her family. Yet she did struggle knowing that it wasn't right to mess with the sacred bodies of their final resting site. And it was really sad because you can tell in the document she was like crying. You could hear, her voice getting all trembly. Remo did ask his mom point blank if she was involved in all these murders. He said that she answered very panic-stricken with a no. However, her body language said everything. And he knew his mama was a stone cold killer.
Like Jason Morgan.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Or Steve Austin.
Oh, there you go. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He called his aunt Kenji and he told her he was positive she did it. He further added that Kenji needed to call the police to have her arrested. Jolly Joseph was arrested early in the morning, and the rest of the family was a little bit in shock because they did still think that the deaths were natural, which is crazy. The son said that he could not see his mom as his mom again, just as this woman who was a killer. No one knew that the police had been investigating for 2 months and they interrogated over 200 people. Even though she is alleged to have killed 6 people, there's 2 sides of the coin here where some people say, well, she's actually not considered a serial killer because in her case, the motive for killing each person was different. Not just for the thrill or anger or seeking attention, which is actually common motives for serial killers. It was argued in the doc that she did have financial gain as a motive, but then, maybe killing the 2-year-old, that also doesn't really, not sure if that really gave her any financial gain.
That one was for fun.
That was so mean, poor little baby. That's not what's better. There was one lady that did say, she could have been doing this, like I said, for financial gain, but even killing the uncle, just because he told her to stop with the affair. Maybe she just didn't want him to snitch. Snitches end up in ditches. We should know that, people.
Or with cyanide in their food.
Or with some killer curry. Kenji said the spirit of the deceased families must have been helping her through this whole ordeal up to the arrest, because it was a lot, she said, to deal with. Although, or also arrested, I should say, is the oldest brother who was the jewelry salesperson. He actually did not deny anything about providing Jolly with the cyanide, so he admitted to it. The police said that they found cyanide in the house. Jolly's attorney claims she was framed, that there's no way she had any cyanide in the house. She has 6 cases against her with 263 witnesses. He said each case is going to take about a year. And he was kind of a little bit on this monologue trying to proclaim her innocence. He went as far as saying she will not be convicted in any point in time. That's, I don't know, big words, especially because of the whole cyanide thing. I don't know. I have a feeling that he's kind of full of it.
Has anybody investigated Kenji? Because it seems like she was awfully invested in this case.
You're so mean. No.
You know, they say the serial killers sometimes they like to put themselves in cases or whatever, like interfere with police or whatever.
I don't think she was interfering because she was the one bringing it to the police.
Maybe, but I don't know. I think Kenji should be investigated as well. Seemed like she was awfully invested in this case.
You're so dumb. So Kenji, she went to the jail to talk to Jolly and probably flex her large set of free cojones because that's really courageous. Kenji told her about the phone calls that Jolly's making to her sons. They're really upsetting them. She told her to cut that shit out. She called her out for being a bad mother. Jolly would give them some type of guilt trip, apparently, every time she called. Kenji reminded her that they're going through a lot as it is. Like, it's enough. Don't add any more fuel to the fire type of thing. She added, she can accept Jolly birthed those boys, but she is now their mom and she will now look after them and raise them as her own. Isn't that kind of beautiful? I was like, Kenji, you are the real MVP here.
I was going to say, it sounds like we have a motive now.
Yeah, she wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
I don't know if she had her own kids, actually. That's a good point.
No, I'm totally kidding. But that was really sweet of her to step up.
Yeah, that was nice where she was like, you know what? I'm going to go in there. I'm going to tell her to cut this shit out. I'm going to raise them. Don't worry. Stop contacting them. I really did like that she stood up for them too. Rojo and Kenji did say that they plan to renovate the home now that it's back in their name. And they want to make it once again the ancestral home of theirs, like it always should have been. So tell me your thoughts. This is a serial killer. The mama serial killer. Fuck.
Yeah, that was a super crazy case. And I'm surprised that she had to murder 6 people before she got caught.
Yes. How many more would have been, who would have been next? I mean, at this point, I guess she had everything. She was now in the position that she wanted to. She had Shaju's money. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It is. Did Kenji take Jolly some of those mushroom supplement pills or whatever?
Right. Here, while you're in prison, you should take these capsules.
Take a couple every night. It'll make your hair shiny.
Yeah. Like she cares about that, right? It'll shine in the light of day that you don't see in jail.
Her hair will look beautiful under the fluorescent lights.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so wild. I was like, nah, I really have to talk about this because this lady's just relentless.
Yeah, it is a great story. Not great what happened, but the story was great.
Of course not. Yeah, no, it's honestly like hearts go out to people that lost so many in one family. That's awful. But before we go, we have to shout out our wonderful Patreons, Sophia, Natasha, Eric, Angie, and Eli. Thank you guys so much. Do you want to add something there, Jose?
I will add the thing that I add in every episode. Let me just pull up my script.
Oh, no. I got the whole if you want to join, but I thought you were going to say, and Eli.
Oh, and Eli.
That's very Mortal Kombat-y.
Fight.
If you want to join our Patreon, you get all exclusive content as far as getting the episodes early. Please go to patreon.com/technically a conversation. It's only $2 a month, baby. You can do it.
6 cents a day.
6 cents a day. Well, congratulations, lovelies. You've done it again, folks. You have learned along with us a great lesson in catching liars. Check credentials wherever your future daughter-in-law or son-in-law starts claiming, right?
And always request a postmortem.
For real, people. Come on. Do yourself a favor. For real. We hope you've been entertained by our chat and invite you to join us again next week. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review, tell a friend, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Follow us on all the socials at Greetings TAC. Email us at greetingstac@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 915-317-6666. 69. If you have a story to share with us.
Of how you murder your family.
No, don't tell us that. We will unfriend you. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you right now. This is most likely why Roy's mom, Ana Ama, favored her a little more, stating that she had a master's in commerce. Sorry, I'll say it again. Roy's mom favored her a little more, stating that she had a master's in commerce. Que la ching- Let me say it again.
On next week's episode of Technically a Conversation. In 1887, 10-year-old Edgar Casey was the worst kid in school. After being visited by a winged woman, he was told that he could be helped if he allowed himself to fall asleep. He laid his head on his school book, went to sleep, and awoke knowing all the answers. By 1892, Casey was the best student in school. Casey discovered he could put himself in a sleep-like trance to access the universal consciousness and was able to cure his own laryngitis and back injury. As his powers grew, he was able to help others in the same manner and gave thousands of readings, prescribing cures, revealing past lives, telling the future, and giving advice from beyond the material world. He used his great powers in search of hidden treasures and assisted in the Lindbergh kidnapping case. He also made predictions about New York, Russia, China, the lost city of Atlantis, the second coming of Christ, and Armageddon. Was Casey a real-life clairvoyant, or were his abilities less than supernatural? New episodes drop Monday. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a show.